Hey guys, welcome back to the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad Kitchen. Today we're going to make cracker crust pizza. Stick with us and follow along and you won't be disappointed. This pizza is guaranteed hot and fresh in less than 6 minutes, or your next one is half off. We get started by heating a cup of tap water in the microwave for 30 seconds on high. Then I add a teaspoon of sugar for a sweetener and a teaspoon of Red Star yeast. This is quick rise yeast. And then I measure out 3 cups of bread flour, and that's a generous 3 cups. And I'm not always exact on this. I probably should weigh it, but I don't. And then I add a generous tablespoon of olive oil. And this shows the yeast starting to multiply. And we're going to fix the bread hook on the KitchenAid mixer and then dump the yeast and the water and sugar into the bread flour. I add a tablespoon or so of regular table salt and let that run in the KitchenAid mixer with the dough hook for probably 4 or 5 minutes. Be patient at this point because it takes a while for that dough to coalesce into a ball. If it really looks like it's going to be too dry, add a little bit of water or a little bit of flour, whichever your needs dictate. Then after the dough has balled up and more or less cleaned out the inside of the mixing bowl, you can cover it with olive oil and then top it with a piece of plastic food wrap. Basically, the purpose for that is to seal in the moisture on that dough ball as it rises. Then I cover the mixing bowl with a wet towel in order to make sure that nothing dries out while the pizza dough is rising. You can punch the pizza dough down if it rises in a more rapidly than you want it to keep it within the bowl. That's a good idea, and basically the purpose for this step is to develop flavor in the dough. Then we're going to cut the pizza dough into 3 separate dough balls and then roll them out onto a floured counter. Place a little bit of flour on the top. So if you're finding that you're getting holes in the dough or anything like that, you may wish to let it rest for a little bit longer in order for it to be a bit more pliable as you're working it. And then you also want to make sure that you apply flour to the bottom side of the crust so that it slides on and off the peel, as you'll see here in a bit. Ada and I are finishing up the pizzas. I'm applying our homegrown pizza sauce over there on the right. Ada's docking with the docking wheel, and the purpose for that is to keep bubbles from forming and rising up in the crust and making the pizza surface uneven. This is pizza sauce that we canned a few years ago. We didn't do any last summer. The summer before we did a bunch and figured we didn't need any last summer, and we're actually down to our last jar now, and we're going to have to buy some commercially for our last few pizzas this season before we have tomatoes again in August. Ada's applying mozzarella here, and I'm applying pepperoni over on the right, and it looks like she'll have to go for another bag of mozzarella. And she's applying pepperoni and snitching maybe a little bit and stealing a look at the camera. Yeah, hi Ada. Over here I'm applying a spinach artichoke chicken topper for that pizza. I didn't apply any red sauce. Butter, heavy cream, Parmesan cheese, and spinach, and then chopped artichoke hearts. We were using canned artichoke hearts here. And then some chicken that I'd fried in butter earlier. Then we'll top that with a bit of mozzarella cheese. before it goes into the oven. Here you see on the right, or actually in the center now, the peel putting the pizza onto the stones. The stones were preheated in a 500-degree oven for half an hour before we even got started with the pizza making. We want those stones to be good and hot so that pizza cooks down, especially with that thin crust, in 6 or 7 minutes. Then we're cutting and we're going to serve, and it was delicious, I promise you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next Black Hills and Eastern Railroad.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe this video.